What's up, YouTube? So, been having issues lately with the computer, and it's gotten to the point where I'm getting kind of irritated. But I'll persevere. The only thing I've been really wanting to do is play Diablo 3 lately. That's all I've been doing. Got my monk to level 51, and all the other characters are around 36. Everybody's in Nightmare, Monks in Hell. And, I've just been doing that lately. And problem after problem's been taking place. At first, when beta was out, game ran fine on the desktop. I was like, okay, I was ready to go. Then the game got released. It was fine. Then 1.01 came out. I wanted to play a little smoother, so I lowered some of the settings. And then 1.03 came out. And 1.03 exposed everything that was wrong with the computer. Regular settings I could not run, and updating the drivers with NVIDIA didn't help either. So after I updated the drivers with NVIDIA, I realized I had to change the settings in NVIDIA for the game so that it didn't conflict with the game. Because the game was telling NVIDIA, hey, we're going to run it like this. NVIDIA's like, oh no, we're going to run it like this because this is how we have it set up. This is how we have it set up. So after I fixed that conflict and all the horrible multicolor screens of death stopped. And when I say multicolor screen of death, I mean it might be fuchsia and then a whole bunch of speckled dots of green and blue, and it looks kind of like Space Invaders, but on mushrooms and all kinds of other drugs at the same time. And I've never had any of those drugs. I just want to go ahead and verify that I've never had any of those drugs. I'm just making a drug reference because I hear that when you take drugs, colors and stuff like that and all kinds of things change. But anyway, so you got this multicolor screen of death, and it's a whole bunch of blocks that are repeating in that same pattern over and over again. You might have fuchsia be the main color and then a whole bunch of blue, green, or you might have blue being the main color and then a whole bunch of other colors. And then the mouse will be a white with some gray, and you can still move it around and you can still hear sounds in the background, and then eventually everything stops and they have to turn the computer off and restart it. Well, the last time it happened, it didn't start back up. I had no video at all. No video. None. Everything started up. Water going around like it's supposed to. All the fans blowing and everything. And I had no video. So I couldn't go into BIOS because I didn't have any video. So I took the GPUs out, flipped them. So I put the other one as the primary, and then the other one is that. I reset the motherboard, take out the battery, let it sit there for 3 minutes, come back, start it up. That didn't do anything. So I unplugged the GPUs and then plugged up the monitor to the motherboard directly. Still nothing. So I'm like, well, after all those signs, I think it's the motherboard. What are my signs? Okay. Actually, let's see. Let's travel. Let's do a little traveling. Let's see if this works. Alright. See if I can do this at the same time. Oh, I gotta set that way. That's okay. Alright. No, I'm gonna take this off. We're live here. We are live. We are taping live. Alright, so that was my finger. Now, up here, you see it's popped up because I had these plugged up. That's my G15 keyboard. That's the G13, I think. And then that one's the mouse, I believe. Alright, so those three are plugged up to the front. Alright, now we're going to go to the back. Boom, boom, boom. Move monitor. Alright, and so in the back, I had my Bluetooth hooked up. My what's this? That was my my F510 gamepad hooked up. Nothing right there. And then my G930 hooked up. So I had to hook up these in the back and those in the front because I didn't have enough space to put everything in the back. Those down there don't work. I thought this didn't work and this didn't work. I'm convinced it's the motherboard because I couldn't have these USBs working back here with those for some reason. And another thing I did was I got this, which it has 10, because I thought, well, maybe this and that don't work, so I'll just get one of these, plug it up there, and then put everything plugged up back here. That didn't work either. So with all those signs, I'm finally RMAing the motherboard. Let's go back around just in case you haven't been watching all the videos in this series. The motherboard is the N980 G65 MSI, blah, blah, blah. Now, more light. I'm not turning it on because I'm about to unhook everything and put stuff in storage until I get a different motherboard. As you can see, I had everything hooked up. I even had the SLI hooked up. The SLI never worked, which bothered me, but not so much. It's not that it didn't work. It's just that it created a what do they call it? It's when your images aren't processing properly to the point where you know how when you're watching a video online and the codec doesn't line up, or sometimes when you're watching something on a digital receiver and you get those blocks, it's kind of like that, except it's more smooth looking, and it doesn't help you play the game at all. It makes it impossible. So when I turn the SLI off, of course it works just fine. So I thought, oh well, they're too old GPUs. Maybe it's the GPUs, maybe they don't work in SLI. But then it never occurred to me, maybe it's the motherboard. Maybe something's wrong with it, because the motherboard was like that from the get-go. I can't run Linux on it for very long because the mouse cuts off. Why the mouse? Why not the keyboard? It's never the keyboard. It's never the G13. It's never anything but the mouse. The most important thing now that I gotta use the mouse, and it cuts off. And it doesn't matter what mouse it is. I had a MX Revolution hooked up, it would cut off. I had a Bluetooth mouse hooked up. Actually, I never had Bluetooth mouse hooked up. I should have tried that. I had all the USB mice I've ever used with this. It would cut off. So I was convinced it's the motherboard. So I'm gonna be unhooking all of this, and I'm gonna put a new motherboard in here once it comes in probably a week. What motherboard is it? I think I'll leave it as a surprise, but I'll give you a hint. It's not MSI, and it's a high-end one, and it's really nice. And I did not want to spend the money on it. I really was happy running this as it was. But I'm gonna upgrade, do better, and I'll tell you one thing: if I find out it wasn't a motherboard, both those are getting unhooked. I'm not water cooling the GPUs anymore. I'm just gonna get me something else, and it'll be a surprise, and it'll be an upgrade, and it'll have DirectX 11. I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna be able to play Diablo 3, and then continue with my life. So I think I'm just about done talking about all my problems. Let me put this back on here. Raise this back up. turning back towards me. And then I can look at myself off the light. There we go. Alright. It's a little darker over here. So, that's basically what's been going on with Giniro. Stuck with my laptop. Can't play Diablo 3. And it sucks. Because my laptop can't play Diablo 3. And I don't have that much money. Anyway. Comment. Subscribe. I don't care. Don't troll. But if you do have a question, a valid question, ask, and I will answer. To write out.